Hey strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Brian Shaw Classic, my preview and prediction on Brian Shaw's first pro show. Going to go over the athletes, the events, my thoughts, and then we get to watch this weekend. I know I am. Are you? So, first thing is, people have been saying that this is the first Shaw Classic, and it may be the first pro Brian Shaw Classic, but Brian Shaw put on a contest, an amateur contest through Strongman Corporation, and I believe it was 2011, and I actually competed in it as a 105 kilogram athlete. I drove up with Robert Oberst from Santa Cruz, California to Colorado, wherever that was in Colorado, and it was an awesome weekend. He then threw another one the next week. The crazy thing about that show is the amount of athletes that were there. It was Robert Oberst, I believe, third show, and he got second to Dimitar Sabatinov. Also there was Brian Benzel. All three of these then amateurs went on to compete at World's Strongest Man, and I think there was even another World's Strongest Man competitor in that amateur lineup, just blanking on their name. Mike Burke was a judge. Stefan Solvi Peterson flew over. It was cool. I remember we were there the day before, and we all got invited to go watch a training day for Brian. We watched him do, I think, near 1,000 pounds on a reverse band deadlift, which back then was absolutely insane. And it was really cool to see that level of athlete train in person in their own facility. Just had like a storage unit back then. Anyways, on to the show. Just wanted to put a little personal anecdote out there and a little bit of history on the Brian Shaw Classic. So technically you could consider this the third. And I will say that was a very, very well-ran show. Tyler Stickle, who now works with Brian Shaw and Shaw Strength, won the under 105s, great 105 athlete. So I expect this to be even better because there's 10 people, not more, because it was amateur show. So on to the athletes. We have Alexei Novikov, current World's Strongest Man, Terry Hollins, JF Caron, Maxime Boudreau, Jerry Pritchett, Trey Mitchell III, Adam Bishop, Kevin Ferris, and Luke Stoltman. On to the event, we have a log press for Max with a custom Slater log, a 500 kilo / 1,100 pound yoke, a farmers in a frame medley, a Max Hummer tire deadlift, which I believe is about 15 inches, a 113 kilogram / 250 pound circus dumbbell for reps, I don't know what wraps are, and a 6 to 8 Atlas Stone run. So a couple of things. It looks like all the athletes are getting taken care of very well. What else would you expect? You can sign up to watch this event on Brian Shaw's member site. I think it's Shaw Strength Club. I'm sure you can find that at shawstrength.com. It can be a live strength. It's called Shaw Elite Club. It's $8.99 per month. You can cancel after it. And it says money is going to be added to the prize pool for the competitors. Trifecta is taking care of all the food they're eating throughout the weekend. It just seems like an awesome show. I believe one day is going to be down in his main gym, and then the second day is going to be up at the Mountain House, or vice versa. So the altitude is going to be a killer. I remember Oberst, Evan Hansman, and myself coming from sea level in California to compete in Colorado that day. We should have done more cardio. We were not prepared for the altitude. So we'll see. Doesn't look like there's any crazy medleys. The first event of that day was a 2 sandbag into 2 kegs or something like that medley. So a 4-part moving medley, and it crushed everyone, at least us, because we should have done more cardio. So going through the events, we have a max log press. Looking at the athletes, I would have to assume that Luke Stoltman would be the favorite in this, and Maxime Boudreau. tougher. Brian Shaw, he didn't do as well in the log medley, but maybe if it's just a max, he might do better. I think it's also going to be very beneficial, of course, that it's Brian's show. It's his gym. He knows where to stand. He's very comfortable. It is at altitude. He's used to it. It's as much of a home field advantage as you could ever get. You're putting on your own show. But of course, he's not eligible for prize money, and him being in it adds a lot to it. I don't see a problem with it, but it is a huge advantage. And I think his performance in the log press will be much better than he did at Worlds. When that was a multiple day show, you're waiting around. I think the times will be able to be set a lot better for the athletes, and that affects some of the athletes more than others. Novikov is actually, pretty strong in the log as well. JF Kron had a tough run, but I'd say Luke Stoltman and Maxime are the front runners in that. The yoke, and also Jerry Pritchett, who has looked very strong overall. Jerry Pritchett's looking strong. I think he's up there on log. He took second in the log press at Worlds. Maybe, he did do like 2 reps on the Austrian Oak a few years ago. All shoulder, related injuries seem healed up enough, and I expect a good performance on there. Then we have a 1,100 pound yoke, and I would say this is between Novikov and Pritchett. I think that's going to be a really strong event for those two. Same with the Farmers Frame medley. I picked the same, as those are my top 2 in it. I'd say Terry Hollins could be up there in some of them as well, and Adam Bishop. Can't forget Adam Bishop. He flies with moving events. Max Hummer tire deadlift. I'm going to have to go with Bishop and Karan as the favorites. Novikov won the 18-inch deadlift. This is about 15, but it does flex a lot. So I don't know if it being a little lower is going to be a problem, but I can't count him out. A lot of people did not think he was going to do well in the Hummer tire. Brian has historically done very well in the Hummer tire. But I think, we got Jerry Pritchett, JF Karan, Adam Bishop up there, and you can't count out Novikov. I think it's going to be very similar results to what we saw with Worlds at the 18-inch deadlift, and it'll be interesting to see who out of everyone, if like the slightly different, the different equipment, different heights affects people, how it affects them. Because it's the great thing about strongman, it's not always the same. Maybe the flex is bad for Novikov, and having to be patient in his pull hurts him. I don't know if suits are allowed or not. If they're not, maybe that's a issue. We will have to find out. Circus dumbbell for reps. Brian Shaw, very, very good at this event. Maxime is good at this event as well. I think he might have a slight shoulder issue. I think it's the least good of those events for him. The overhead events. And yeah, we can't forget, Maxime's very fast on the moving events as well. He'll do very well in that Farmers Frame medley. I think Circus Dumbbell Brian Shaw is going to win this event, and Novikov will be right up there as well. I think it's between those two in this one. Oh, Kevin Ferris on the Farmers Frame as well. I expect big things out of him. And Atlas Stone Run. This is an interesting one. I think Brian Shaw will win it. Trey Mitchell will be up there. And, JF Karan had the next best run. And we'll get to see if Novikov has to. Because I think it seems like he kind of just coasted on his Atlas Stone Run and did what he had to do to win the title. But I think at the end of the day, out of these events, I think we're looking at, it's hard to pick against Novikov. He just won. He took some time off. Didn't look like he got beat up at Worlds. The events are somewhat similar between what we saw between the qualifiers and the finals. So I'd expect to see some carryover there on who does what. So I think we're going to see a very similar result to what we saw at Worlds. There's just a couple of other athletes thrown in here like Luke Stoltman, Maxime, etc. Terry, that are going to mix up points compared to the finals field. But I'm saying Novikov and, I think it's going to be between JF Caron, Jerry Pritchett, and Shaw for the remaining spots. I think it being the last of, Brian Shaw's home turf helps. He could win it, but I'm picking Novikov, then Jerry, then Shaw, then JF Caron. Those are my picks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I can't wait to watch this show. Shaw Elite Club, shawstrength.com, only $8.99. Definitely spend the money to watch the show, and can't wait to talk about what happened. I'm Kalle Beck. Thanks for watching.